they have a certain sound activation code. They have a sound code. Depending upon the species of plants, they each have unique symbols that have their own sounds, which are sound activation codes that when you say and then emit that sound, when source emits that sound, or a prime creator speaks a certain sound, that is a sound code that activates life, and they're very unique. And like I told you, we would go through several of them today, but what's so interesting is that every species on this planet, whether it be of the earth element, the water element, the air, the fire, all of the beings are born through the codes that come from elements. And elemental beings are the ones responsible for the creation of those codes. So there are elemental beings for fire, there are elemental beings for water, there are elemental beings for all of the species that walk and crawl upon the earth, plants and humans, not plants, animals and humans. And there are species of beings that actually fly through the air, the winged ones is what elemental beings call birds. So there are some really beautiful sound codes that birthed all of these different species and types, of species. So it's a lot of codes. It's not something that I can really put into one class. We could make a year-long expression and exploration of sound codes. It just could keep going and going and going. So depending upon your understanding of it, and if you feel like it would be useful for you, you could use these codes. You can use these codes because they are life activation codes. Say, if you want to heal Earth, there is a life activation code that restores Gaia. So everything that births something also restores it. Those codes are for birth and restoration of the original genetic design, of the original spiritual genetic design, because it's two different things. And overall, in Mystery School, we call that the grand design, or the machinery of the universe. For those of you who remember your invocation for the machinery of the universe, when I asked you to invoke a vision of it, wow, that's what this does. That's what these codes do. So, for instance, if you are very interested in restoring the ley lines of Earth, if you are interested in stopping earthquakes, you would ask for, the Gaia, source code, the Gaia source code. And if you were interested in healing any animals or plant life in the sea, you would ask for the water elemental codes. If you actually want to stop the fires, all the forest fires that happen, you can speak to the elemental beings by utilizing the fire activation code. And I know that sounds weird, that the same thing that causes fire actually calms it down. I've used these codes to calm down hurricanes a lot. Those, I use both water and air codes, but it has to start with air activation codes. So the same activation codes that actually create a hurricane, I know, are the same codes that you need to learn to calm it down. Those are the codes that I used for that. You guys understand how powerful it can be? If you want to send a blessing for the whole of humanity, you use a code for that. you use a code for that. So within the species of humanity, I don't really have a name for that code. I just call it the human design. So that's just such a, not even really a name. It's just about activating your own human design before you started incorporating things like beliefs that got you off track, or traumas that got you off track, or cellular mutations like cancer or genetic disorders that are plaguing you that got you off track. So I have a really strong belief that I healed my own genetic disorder by using one of these codes for that. So, and there's an actual code for blood. I know, right? You can heal blood disorders. I can get very, very specific about, because blood incorporates all the elements, so it has its own code. It has its own activation code. So again, this could get very, very specific, and I'm going to give you some basic ones, and then I'm going to give you the sound that you'll need to say or sing. These aren't invocations. Source knows what you mean and what your intention is. So just when you say or sing, it doesn't matter if it's in your mind or out loud, what's going to happen is the sacred symbol that code begins to create will become activated in the being of the person or the plant. It activates their beingness. It activates their unique blueprints that will then remember how they were naturally before all, like I said, all the beliefs, all the vaccines, all the stuff that we put into our minds and put into our bodies can really alter and shift our DNA codes, and it's not always for the better. So sound is what heals that, right? So all you do is say or sing them. You don't actually have to visualize any of the symbols. I'm just showing you the symbols because the symbols are a part of that being or collective of beings. It's a part of their grand design. It's a part of their either physical or etheric DNA or both. And that is the shape that is kind of there. You'll see this in nature. Like for instance, when the Fibonacci spiral, in almost every seashell, it's there. In certain plankton, it's there. You'll see spirals, and well, rings rather, but they could be spirals on the inside of trees, depending upon the species of tree. You see these certain codes that can literally be seen in the physical design of every species on this planet. It's just so remarkable. And it's remarkable that these very simple sound codes activate life and restore the life that was originally designed in that being. You guys understand that? What I mean by that? So MA, start with us. That's actually the sound code for humanity. And this is the grand design of most humans. So you don't have to visualize that. Just know that that is what you are restoring. So when you say or sing Ma, sometimes when I just do that over and over and over again, there is an interesting thing that happens. Now, this is a technique-oriented thing that I do with all of the sound codes. that really, really activates things faster and makes the healing happen even faster. I began to sing or say the codes, but this particularly works better with singing. And then I let them kind of blend together to where there is a little bit of enunciation still there in the consonant. But then it's almost like the consonants and the vowels of the phrase, the tone, begin to kind of blend together. So in that case, do it with me. You can try it slow, you can try it fast, but just listen how that happens. It's so easy. Do it, sing ma, and then hold it out until you can not really hold it anymore, and then try to sing it again. Or you can just sing ma many times in one breath. You can do that both ways. So that is one way that I bless massive groups of people. What I would really like to see happen are meditations from us. You know, it's something that I learned a lot, particularly from Guru Dev and Maharishi Mahesh Yogi when I channel them. They're always attempting to get us together to meditate upon certain sounds. So there are a lot of these sounds, and you'll notice, transcendental meditators, you will notice that those sounds came from somewhere, right? So sing that. Man, 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 man. You notice that there's also an in there, because after the ma kind of goes, then it goes to the again. It sounds like you're singing ma and at the same time. This is where came from, is ma. And there are not many people on this planet who know that ma actually was first. But I have met a few alchemists who teach it, so I wanted to share it with you because it came from the adepts who taught me, both in Christ form and in human form. They knew this. Essenes knew this. You know, a lot of people who have worked with adepts know this, you know? Okay, so that's that. It's ma. It also is synonymous with Om. So ma is also the divine mother portion of activation and healing and creation for humanity. And Om is actually the divine masculine or father or male version of healing for humanity. And that's why they go together. And you have ma and om, maum. Isn't that fun? Maum, maum, maum. Make sure you put your teeth together when you do that, because the resonance comes, and not just from, you know, the ah and opening your mouth big enough, which you need to do if you're going to sing that powerfully, but the M and putting your teeth together, right? Yeah, exactly that, David. Okay. So that heals all of humanity, all the different soul groups and collectives that are here. For plants on this earth, you probably already know the symbol that I'm drawing. Plants are Sa. All the different species of plants. So when you say that, it gets a little harder because Sa just doesn't really, you can't really blend that as well. I find that there is a distinct difference in terms of when you sing Sa, that when you hold out the ah, it's almost like S-A-H is the way it sounds. And there are no specific, because there's so many different alphabetical systems and languages and things, I can only give you transliterations of these tones. It's not like, you know, the elemental source of this earth was American and spoke English. Do you see what I'm saying? So Sa is just a transliteration of the being itself and the sound that emanates from it. I'm trying to find a way to describe when I first heard Sa, it almost sounded like shh. It was like this long sound. And I couldn't teach anyone how to do that as much as I've tried. And so Sa is the closest thing. So when you can enunciate the S almost like you're going to say shush, but mostly like a you know, I'm a sound alchemist, so all these things are really important to me. But these are the sounds that I hear, you know, and remember rather, when I'm walking in deserts and I hear like windstorms. These are the sounds that I also hear in the wind itself, and the way that it kind of works with the plant life. But that sound of plants have kind of a vibratory sound that sounds like sha. So it's almost a sha. But even if you can just get the down, that's really, really important. Like leaves through the wind a little bit. And, you know, it's very interesting because the element that created the plants is the wind. It's not actually like an earth element that created that. Even though plants are of the earth, it's actually the wind element. It's breath that created plant life on earth. And plant life was here first, but you'll notice in all the sacred alchemy texts, they discuss that plants were here first, and they talk about air, and God said, and then there was light, and then there were all these plants everywhere and stuff, right? Do you guys remember that in a lot of the sacred texts? So Sa is like a long S that eventually goes into an A, and there's a slight whistle to it, like the wind. I'm probably making it sound a lot more complicated than it is. It's hard to make words out of these tones just because I've been singing them forever. Doesn't mean I know exactly how to tell you to sing it, but the S and the Sa is what created all of the plant life, which then activated the Fibonacci spiral code in almost all the plant life that you see. In some degree, you will find that. So let's see if I want to go there with the sun element. It's like the sun is its own element. And it actually works with the air element as well now. So for that, it's actually Ra, and it's sang like R-A-H. That's where Ram, Rama, Ra, the being, that's where all of those names came from. Is some mystic heard source sound, heard this source code, heard it, and began naming beings by it. So basically, Ra actually activates the sun element. Sometimes we need to sing this, not necessarily that there are beings that were created from the sun element that are associated with it, but sun is very powerful. And, for thousands and thousands of years, many beings, the Egyptians, the Mayans, the Incan beings, South African beings, and African beings in general, understand the power of the element of the sun for healing, because when you call upon this element, you're actually activating from the element of light itself. So this is a general one, all right? With this sun element and this Ra that you would say or sing. So it's really interesting how that works. And interestingly enough, you're gonna love this because synchronicities abound in everything. This is, right? Looks exactly like the Eye of Horus and the eye and everything. Ra, the sun element, is the ultimate eye and vision. And when you just need vision about something, or you want to heal the way you see things, you want to work with that. Or the sun can actually, when it's too hot, can actually cause a lot of those forest fires and things like that. So sun works with wind, and this is the actual etheric DNA or grand design that occurs whenever you say or sing that. So you can also blend that one together, like ra, 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 ra. So you'll notice the natural thing that wants to happen is that there is an NRG sound code in the middle of that whenever you just say Ra over and over again. So now you're getting an idea of how these elements work together. It started somewhere, but then all these elements begin to work together in these codes, and then that creates other codes. So that leads us on to NRG, which is actually the element for wind. All right. So this is how you can heal birds and everything that's in the air. This is how you can send a blessing for polluted air. I used to live right outside of Salt Lake City, which is definitely in a bowl of pollution. And there's a lot of industrialized stuff going on there, and all that just goes up into the air and stays there. And then all of the, when the snow falls, it's like it mixes with all of the pollution coming from the elements of industry in the city with the rain itself. And it becomes a disaster for asthmatics to breathe there. So working with air, if you want to heal any of those things, or birds, or any of the beings of the air, you want to work with NRG, that particular sound. I hate when I draw it wrong. Give me a second. That upside down one is first. That's off. There. Okay. Love when you're drawing and your guides come in and they're like, that's just not even close, which is what's happening right now. I mean, you guys made me become born with a lot of gifts, but drawing was not one of them. So again, this is air, the element of air, and all the beings and situations that you would like to send a blessing towards for that. All right, NRG. So you guys know how much I love this one, because NRG is like so, it's like velvet when you sing it. And I've taught you how to do it a zillion times, so I'm not sure if I want to teach it again, because you guys already know. Does anybody not know? So I can teach you it again if you want. Anybody here that doesn't know, I will show you again. So just like that. You have to sing with your lips pursed, and you have to put your tongue at the top of your palate, but don't touch the top. Leave about a centimeter's worth of space between the tip of your tongue and the top of your mouth, and leave about a centimeter space between the back of your front teeth here, you know, and your tongue. And you basically want to kind of move it until you feel or hear an overtone. So if you don't move your mouth at all, if you are a, you know, more of a whistling overtones, I don't move my mouth a lot when I do some certain overtones, and then certain ones I do. But with whistling overtones, you may not have to move that at all. You just move your tongue, and then you begin to experiment with the different source tones or sounds kind of inside of your mouth itself without actually moving this. So that is so if you're listening, there's like a lot of vowels in NRG. So let me write down. This is why air and breath are some of the most important things. There are two different symbols for it, and this is like the biggest one, but there's also an in there. It's not just is there, it's important, but there's an E in there. You can put O in there, is in there. And there is also an in there sometimes when you get very, very intensely trained with your NRG overtones. And there is actually an oo in there as well. So like with this, like with that, and then there's that in there as well. So when you get the NRG right, start with just try to sing and then start singing E. And then go to E. And then sing E, O. I'm sure you get my point. It goes and goes and goes. E, O, O. So you got to understand the vowels that you're pronouncing before you can sing them. If you just do that, it does a lot with healing. But if you can sing and then and then E, and then E, O, and then E, O, and then E, O, U, and then E, O, U, E, O, U. Yeah, so it'll end up being like a whole polyphonic series of sound that created, and this is why this one is so important, this is why these triangles go together, all of the species and beingness on this planet. That's why breath and air is so important. So breath was explained in the other one, in the other tone that we talked about, but air is huge. Air is a little bit different. Air is has everything in it, everything. Do you understand? Right? Oh, sorry. So is in it, and then E, E, O, E, O, E, O, and then I have a hard time with the ooh. I don't know if it's like, I don't think I've been American many times in my past lifetimes. So there's another way that you can sing this. because whistling overtones are a little bit harder. There's another type of overtone singing that you have where you start out with NRG and you actually move you hit all these sounds by simply moving your mouth and singing the vowels. All right. So when you do that, you guys have heard this one time and time again. This is the easier way to sing NRG. You're going to sing who with your mouth shaped like a fish, and then we, and then E is going to happen. You're going to sing E when you smile, and then all the vowels I put here, and then ooh. So who, we, you will help you get all those vowels that I just mentioned without having to do them in whistling overtones without moving your mouth, which is more an advanced singers, overtone singers way. So this one looks like who. I need to go lower. You hear the difference? You can hear overtones a lot clearer when you do them that way. But of course, because I have been in the midst of a very advanced overtone singing course for the past several years, I like the hard way. But this is the easy way in that one, okay? That is my absolute favorite tone because it has all of the other tones in it, all the other ones, okay? So speaking of who, it is an actual tone. And it's for water. So then this element, you can, when you sing who or you, there are different ways to do it. Who is for the oceans. Who is for all the rivers and lakes and creeks and waterfalls and all the things that come from the ocean. Do you understand? It's cool, huh? Yep. So symbol. It's actually really pretty. What is that? So again, oceans is who, just like an owl. Who. You can sing overtones in them if you want. If you want, I tend to, but you don't need to. Oceans are some of the biggest things that exist. They know you, you are them, and they are you. So I can do that. Who, and then hue is a little bit more complicated because all of these source vowels are in there. It seems like with hue or hue that it seems a little bit like you're singing something that looks like that, at least in transliteration, right? For rivers and lakes and streams. Just going to put rivers, lakes, streams, etc., because it is a lot. And it is slightly different of a symbol. Let's see if I can do this. Oh man, for some reason I can draw the ocean one really well, and then when I attempt to draw the other one, it just doesn't. Hang on a second. Anyway, that looks bad, but it is the opposite of what I just drew on the other side. So hue, when people say hue like the hue like color and paint, there are actually a lot of source vowels in there. Water's big. So it is like He, like H-E-E. You. Here. You hear that? He, then the Y, you. It's actually a little bit more like that. So here, 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 here. You'll notice that when you do it together, that the H starts to just kind of go, you don't hear it anymore. And then it sounds like the opposite of an NRG. That's for a reason. All these elements work together. Okay? Let's talk a little bit about fire. It's Re. Kind of sounds like R-E-H. A little bit more complicated of a symbol, guys. You'll notice that fire looks like a womb of a mother for a reason, okay? Because fire, you're going to see, you mystery school students, you're going to understand why all these elements are in creation, why all the ancient 15th century alchemists and the Sufi masters talked about fire and breath to be two of the creation elements. So that's why it looks like a womb. It's deep creation element. It took the angst and the kind of the wrath energy, that powerful, sharp energy to create from that way. So if you want to calm down volcanoes, forest fires, you can also use this one. It can instigate more fire for creation, make you feel more empowered. It can also tame, depending upon the way you say it. So if you want to instigate more fire, you're going to sing Re. And if you want to calm it down, you're going to sing Re. Understand? So again, another R, which is going to sound like an NRG. Re. I better calm down. It's hot today. So let's back that up. So in that, you also have an oo. So when you start to sing them together, it starts to sound like re, re. Did you hear that? Ooh, it's very important in the fire element, at least when you're soothing it. And when you want to instigate more fire in your life, more empowerment, more creation, want to manifest something quickly, you can use the fire element. All right? Maybe you want to start a campfire faster. I don't know. There's many ways. So that would sound like, when it's get it, re, 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 re. You notice that you have to, your mouth naturally goes back down to oo before you go back to re again. There's a reason for that. Because these elements work together. And then finally, see, I think we did, we did everything. Did we do all of them? Got earth. Got two different ways to do air and wind. We got water. We got sun even. And we got, yeah. What am I missing? Earth, air, fire, water. I'm not missing anything. Okay, super.